Good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to CRSJ 101. It's a monthly membership event for the American Bar Association section of Civil Rights and Social Justice. We host this every month on the first Monday of the month. And for 30 minutes, we are going to be showcasing the benefits of section membership within our section. My name is Alli Kielsgard. I am the Associate Director of the section. I'm thrilled to introduce my colleague, Luke Graves, our new program specialist. And we also have Melissa Hodek on with us. She's the editor of our Human Rights magazine. And I'm also joined by the 2324 section chair, Runge, who I will turn it over to.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. As was just said, my name is Runge. I use she, her pronouns. I'm based here in Washington, D.C., where it is still 100 degrees. Can't wait for the fall. But it is a privilege to be the chair of the section and to be here for this membership event. This is the first one of my chair year. And I think that's all you need to know about me. So should I toss it to someone else or back to you, Alli?
I think we can probably go ahead and get started.
Oh. All right. So this wonderful slide with a very old photo of me it has a great overview of the section. So the section has been around since 1966. It actually had a different name once, but we renamed ourselves in the last few years to be a more accurate description of the work that we do, civil rights and social justice. And we provide leadership within the ABA and the legal profession in protecting and advancing human rights, civil liberties, and social justice. And we have a unique leadership structure. So if you are already involved in the ABA, and I hope you are, you may have been involved in another section, tax, for example, or real estate, or in a commission, the Commission on Domestic and Sexual Violence. We are a section, and we have a council and an executive committee that is our leadership. And I am the head of our executive committee. We've got Mario, who's here from our executive committee. And then we have a section council, and council members serve for up to 3 years. And then we have, amazingly, a very active section. We have 21 substantive committees on every issue of civil rights and social justice you can think about. And that's awesome because there are many ways to get involved right away and pursue issues that you care deeply about. We also have liaisons to other ABA entities. I just mentioned a few of them. One of our core principles in the civil rights and social justice section is collaboration, right? Collaboration within the ABA and the legal profession, and those within the legal profession who have expertise on the issues that we are asked to lead on. And so our liaisons to other ABA entities play a key role to make sure that we're coordinating with them, lifting up work that they're doing that overlaps with our interests and vice versa. We also have specific projects that each chair identifies and lifts up that is often linked to current events such as voting rights. Currently we have a voting rights project. And then we have other council committees that are really central to our ability to continue to exist in space and time around membership and fundraising. Importantly, here on this slide, you see the names and titles and email addresses of everyone on our executive committee. This is a fabulous group of people to get to know, and I know each and every one of them would welcome an email from you if you want to reach out to one of us. You may Google one of us and see that we're from a part of the country that you're in, or maybe we practice in an area of law that you're interested in, any of those things. And that can be enough of a reason to feel a connection. And so we want to make sure that you know that we're accessible, and we would love to hear from you. So as I mentioned, we have over 20 committees in different topics, and this is how they're organized. We have 5 divisions, and I think you could quickly identify here things that are of interest to you. I actually was very involved in the Women's Rights Committee for many years, and then became a member of the council. So I was the vice chair of the Women's Rights of Women Committee, and then a co-chair of that committee for many years because of my particular background and the work that I do on gender-based violence and harassment in the world of work. But I also have been involved in the Economic Justice Committee and the Disability Rights Committee. But anyway, so like many of you, I bet you have multiple interests. And what is so fabulous about this is this is an opportunity to get involved on a topic that maybe you're interested in, but you don't focus on in your day job, right? But you want to learn more about and get involved in and become better knowledgeable about because you care, but it's not a part of what you do all day. So this list is available, I believe, on our website as well. And so we encourage you. And by the way, important detail, you can be a member of more than one committee. There is no limit. There is no limit to your involvement. You just need to be a member of the section and of the ABA. So we have a number of active projects here that are highlighted. Some of these were things we've done in the last year, a couple of years. Some of these things are ongoing things. I think it's a good snapshot here. One thing that I have continued that the prior chair started was the chair chat. This is an opportunity for the leadership of the section to interview people who have expertise in different aspects of civil rights and social justice, including other leaders in the section. We have historically done a book club to really provide a space of community coming together and talking about current issues through either a nonfiction or a fiction book. Our chair several years ago started our Civil Rights and Civics Institute, which includes short educational videos targeted at students. We had students submit the questions, and those will still live on our website. We held an Economic Justice Summit last March at Georgetown University Law Center, and the videos of all of that, I believe all of those live on our website, but also on our YouTube page. Our continuing work on voting rights as we start I live inside the Beltway, so all I feel like I hear about constantly is elections, but the rest of the planet does not live, eat, and breathe this. And so we're about to enter a period of time, right, where we are focused yet again at voter suppression. And I shared in my intro chair chat video, my father did voting rights work for Bobby Kennedy during the 50s and 60s and helped African-American people vote in the South. So I grew up in a household where I heard stories firsthand of voter suppression that included murder. And if my father were still alive today, and actually until he passed about 7 years ago, he would tell me on a regular basis that very little has changed. And that is devastating, that the access to the right to vote is still being used as a way to suppress democracy. And so it's a really critical thing that we're committed to and devoted resources to ensuring that everyone has an equal right to vote. So those are some projects. And here are more. And notice what I'm trying to do, which is difficult, and that is not to show favoritism, right? We all have our favorites. But here's some more. We have projects we've done in the past that, again, continue to exist in some way, shape, or form in our section. I would say our newest one on this page is our Reproductive Rights Pro Bono project. This came out of the crisis that was really centered around the issuance of the Dobbs decision by the U.S. Supreme Court that turned the issue of right to access to what I see as just basic human rights for people who become pregnant back to the states, has led to a significant diminishment of access to reproductive health benefits just generally. And so this project was started by the section with other ABA entities to really make sure that the ABA was providing support and resources, specifically pro bono attorneys, to those who are engaged in the trenches and have been for quite some time. So not a new problem. It's just a broader manifestation of a new problem. And so you may be wondering at this point, you must have a staff of 20. And the answer to that question is no. We have a mighty staff of 3, 2 of whom are with us today. But I say that to just recognize that we have a mighty staff that supports all of the things that we've been talking about thus far, including our programming. So we have always done a lot of programs in person. And then, like many organizations during the pandemic, we moved online. And actually, when that happened, we stepped up our online programming and our staff became experts on how to provide online programming. And we saw a substantial uptick, and we were doing rapid response webinars during the pandemic, which were very well received for obvious reasons. And we've really continued at an amazing pace the number of programs, again, continuing to do virtual programming as well as in-person programming. I support making sure that whatever we do is maximally accessible. What we saw by moving online in our section is that our membership increased significantly. We were the only ABA organization to increase membership during the pandemic. But not only that, the diversity of our membership increased because people were able to participate in our programming. And then we had hundreds and hundreds of people who had never registered for our programming before register and participate in our programming. And that is because of what we know, right? Which is this is a much more accessible format. Previously, we did much more in person, which requires you to be able to financially do that, to be able, if you have caregiving responsibilities, to leave those. Maybe you have other reasons for not being able to travel in person to something. And we definitely, I'll just say this, we saw those barriers come down really considerably. And it's something that in my year I'm committed to maintaining, is ensuring that the accessibility and inclusion that we displayed during the pandemic continues, even as we continue to move back in person with some of our programming. So here again is some examples of our more successful programs, but I'm sure it was hard to pick these slides for the staff because there were so many incredibly successful programs. I'm going to turn this slide over to my colleague, Melissa, to talk about our flagship publication, Human Rights Magazine.
Thanks, Robin. So the magazine is probably the leading member benefit of membership in civil rights and social justice. It's a quarterly magazine, and it's available in print and online. And it's a really fun way to get involved with the section. These are some of our recent issues that we've published. Our latest issue deals with the fall of the rule of law, as you can see. And we're currently planning issues on labor and employment rights, which ties into Robin's year's chair, one of her initiatives, and Native American issues, and technology and AI. And there are so many ways to get involved with the magazine. You can join an editorial board meeting. We currently have 11 editorial board members and 1 editorial board chair. And we meet every month to brainstorm upcoming issue themes, article ideas, and potential authors. So if you're ever interested in joining a meeting, I would invite you to participate. You can also reach out to me if you're interested in writing, or if you have any ideas for future issue themes. I would love to hear your ideas. So it's a really rewarding project to be a part of, and I invite you to participate if you're interested. Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Importantly, previous editions are available electronically on our website now, and so you get distribution both in paper and electronically. Though I enjoy still getting it, the real document. I actually get the newspaper too, so I'm of a certain generation, but we do have it available in both ways if you want to take a look at past editions, because it is a phenomenal publication. So yes, we do advocacy in a variety of different ways. This is one of the key roles that we fill at the American Bar Association, really focusing on civil rights and social justice issues. I do not need to share or tell all of you that sadly, these for the last, I would say, 10 years, we have been I feel like there's got to be a sporting metaphor here that I can't come up with. Maybe on the other side of, like Serena Williams or Djokovic. Like, it's just like these issues are coming fast and furious, and they are attacking things that I never thought in my lifetime that we would be at risk of losing. And so one of the key things that we've done is we have an amicus committee, and the section is directly involved in ensuring that the ABA files amicus briefs in critically important Supreme Court cases, though I have to say probably all Supreme Court cases are critical, but the ones related to social justice and civil rights issues in particular. You can see some of the cases listed here. That is some of the work I think we're most proud of. The ABA broadly advocates for passage and implementation of specific pieces of federal legislation. Every year, actually, the policy shop of the ABA issues a survey where we as members weigh in and what those priorities are. The passage and the implementation of the Violence Against Women Act has been a priority for over 20 years for the association, and is a good example. I don't know if I see it on here, but also loan forgiveness has been a huge priority, and the fact that loan forgiveness even exists in space and time, even though it's being complicated currently. There is a federal loan forgiveness program, and the ABA was heavily involved in that for many, many years. And I would say was instrumental in making sure that there was such a thing as federal legislation mandating any form of loan forgiveness. And you can see a variety of other issues here, but if you get involved in the section, there is ample opportunity to participate in many of these things. There's a lot in this administration. For example, there are a lot of opportunities for submitting comments on notices for proposed rulemaking in the federal government, if you're interested in that. I teach law at George Washington University Law School, and my students are currently drafting a comment on the Pregnancy Workers Fairness Act, for example. Those comments are due on October 10th. That would be an example of a project that the ABA could take on. And I've already alluded to this, but there are, when you're ready, many leadership opportunities. I recently shared that as chair, maybe I'm not supposed to say this, but everybody who knows me says that that's like my favorite thing to do, is to say the thing I'm not supposed to, is when I first became a member of the section right out of law school in 1997, if someone had said to me, oh, come co-chair this, right? Or lead this initiative, you would have found me quitting. Like you couldn't have scared me more. Like I would have run from the building, right? What I wanted to do was join a space where I could meet other people who cared deeply about issues, right? That I cared about and maybe didn't know anything about. And in fact, be in a space with leaders on these issues in the country who are members of the section. What I was not prepared to do at that point in my life was to lead anything. I had just passed the bar. I thought it was a miracle, and I was just living in that headspace. And so I just say this to say all of you are at different stages in your life. And so for you, the idea and the opportunity of leadership right out of the box is really attractive. Great, we can help you. If, however, you're more like me and you're like, I'd like to be a member and hang out and go to a few committee meetings and come to some council meetings and figure it out more, you are equally welcome. We want to hear from you and want to hear your opinions and have you engage in the section in other ways, like raising your hand in a meeting or sending an email to one of us rather than leading something. So I just want to really be clear. But if you could pitch an idea for a webinar. You could write an article in a Human Rights Magazine. That is something I did for the Human Rights Magazine right out of law school. And that seemed less scary to me somehow. I submitted something via email and no one asked me about it. And that worked out really well for me. As we mentioned, we have over 20 sections on every issue you can imagine intersecting with civil rights and social justice. And we are always looking for people to engage in leadership in those sections. And we've mentioned Human Rights Magazine. And I think we are eagerly looking to make sure that the policies that the section and the ABA adopts are actually utilized as a tool for advocacy. I alluded to the fact that the ABA has first supported passage and now reauthorization of the Violence Against Women Act, and also supported the introduction and now the implementation of loan forgiveness programs in the federal government. And both of those things were made possible because the ABA passed policy on them first. Does that make any sense? Like the ABA as a whole, it's kind of like a mini Congress, like our version of a House of Representatives and our version of a Senate, and they come together annually and they vote on a body of policy that drives the work of the ABA. And so we are always looking for opportunities for policies that we adopt to be utilized that way effectively, right? To be utilized to allow the ABA to weigh in. And in fact, in the past, we would even testify on the Hill in support of legislation. So there could be a lot of opportunities. So here are two of our members talking about the import of the section to them and how they got involved. I'll just give you a minute to read these because I'm not going to read them to you. Rula is a very active member of our council, and she talks about how she got involved first with the Young Lawyers Division and then connected with us and why this has been really important to her. And our past chair, immediate past chair, Juan Thomas, talks about his involvement in the section and what it means to him. So. And we are on all those social media things. Twitter is no longer, you got to change that. It's now X, right? Yeah, it's no longer the blue T. My app just changed recently. I updated the app and I was really disappointed to see the T disappear. But Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm so proud of the fact that I actually know what all of those are. I can't stand it. I would even recognize a few more because of my niece and nephew. But join us, link to us. That's another great way to learn about what we're working on, when our upcoming programs are that you might want to register for, when our next business meeting is. Those are open to the public. You know, these are great opportunities. Our next meeting is on October 20th. It will be hybrid based in Washington, D.C. at the law firm Step. One of our section members is a partner there. And so he's generously hosting us at his firm, but they have hybrid capabilities. Again, focus on accessibility for everybody. But if you're interested in coming to that meeting, either virtually or in person, please let us know because we would welcome you. And I'm looking at my colleagues here, including specifically Mario and Alli and Luke, to see if there's anything I didn't say that would be helpful for them to lift up. I'm sure there is.
No, Robin, I think you covered it. I think you did a really fantastic job at covering the benefits of section membership and, you know, what it's really like as a member. So thank you so much. Are there any questions from the audience?
Any questions, truly?
Feel free to paste those into the chat. Well, if anyone has a question after this meeting is over, you can feel free to email crsj@americanbar.org and we will respond promptly. Thank you so much, everyone, for attending today's event. We appreciate you and stay safe.
Can I ask?
Of course, of course.
How many of our folks who've joined us are law students? Because we didn't even talk about involvement as a law student. Anybody? You could answer in the chat. Or raise your electronic hand. Ah, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name, Santa. That's great. So you're thinking about it. And where in the country are you guys located? If you want to just put in the chat, what state, or if you're in DC, where in the world you're located? Chicago, excellent. I'm from downstate Illinois. If anybody else wants to join. Ah, great. Yeah, I saw, Alyssa, that you put in your, I've got to figure out how to do that. You put in your thing that you've got the unceded land of the Lipan Apache, and you know, so you're naming the native folks, which is so great, and it's so great. But you live, so you, I think Austin is very cool. DC has got issues, as we know, but it's great to see you here. Anybody else, Jordan or Norman or Isaac, want to say where you are, or Andy? We've got a lot of members in Texas, for what it's worth. Oh, good. I'm glad it was helpful, Alyssa. If you want to follow up with any one of us, you should do that. As should anybody else. Okay, I'm not trying to belabor, but I just thought, you know, if we wanted to try to connect with folks. Excellent. Phoenix, Norman, you're in Phoenix. So, okay, so when I said it was 100 degrees here, you were like, whatever, right? You were like, I'm melting. We just hit day 53, was it? Of over 110. I think I just read that over the weekend, that you literally had your 53rd day this year of over 110 degrees. I don't know how you do it. They say it's a dry heat, but I think at some point that doesn't matter. Maybe at 105, right? Like at some point it's hot. Oh, you're in North, so you're probably like stone's throw from me, Andy, because I'm in Northwest Washington, D.C. You mean Washington? Oh, I should ask. You're saying Northwest Washington, not DC, so Northwest Washington State. Very cool and temperate. Okay, so we're all jealous of you. Yes, thank you for the correction, Andy. That is fabulous. So when you say Northwest, I'm supposed to know better and not say Seattle and know that you mean like the San Juan Islands, right? Yes. See, I'm showing my geography. Woo! Right? That's a beautiful part of the world, Andy. Santa, I'm glad you found this helpful too. And Andy, if there's anything that we can do, please reach out to us. I will be flying out to Seattle actually, which is not where you are, because we're acknowledging that, but I will be close to you in Seattle at the end of this month for some work. All right. Well, thank you all. It's great to be connected. Please feel free to follow up with any of us about joining the section if you're not already a member, and you know, how to get involved passively or actively, as the case may be. All right. Thanks.
Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
Bye.